Hi there, my name is Michael Blanc, and you're in the right place if you want to learn all about apartment building investing. Today's topic is going to be about raising money and whether you should raise money from friends and family. So if you've followed me for any amount of time, you know I'm all about raising money to do real estate, particularly to get into apartment building investing. Now, some people are afraid of approaching friends and family to raise money. So the question is, should you do that? Should you shy away from them, or should you go ahead and approach them? So the reason that some people don't want to do that is because they're afraid that they're going to lose money, lose their friends and family money, and ruin a relationship, and that's a real concern, right? Plus it'll make for very uncomfortable Thanksgiving dinners. But let's drill down on the fear. Sometimes I do this worst case scenario exercise and actually think through what could happen, versus what's likely to happen. And sometimes we find that actually the worst case scenario isn't really so bad. So let's do this. First of all, when I take money from people, I feel a very overwhelming responsibility for that money, far greater than if I'm using my own money. Like if I use my own money, that's bad enough, but if I'm using a friend's or family member's money, it's to me just disastrous. And most people feel the same way. So I don't want to belittle this fear, because the responsibility is really overwhelming. But let me go through an example. And normally I talk about apartment building investing, but I know a lot of you guys are just real estate investors, so I'm going to use an example that you can probably relate to a little more, and I know a lot about as well, which is flipping houses. So let's first talk about the probability of this happening, right? Because a lot of fears are improbable, and so we have to kind of think about what's most likely. But let's say you're buying a house and you raise $100,000 from whatever four private friends and family, $25,000 each, and you use $70,000 for the house and $30,000 to repair it. And your after repair value you estimating is $150,000. So after all expenses and stuff like that, you're thinking you can probably net $30,000 from this house flip, which is reasonable. Now at the end, by the time you're done, instead of making a $30,000 profit, you're actually made a $5,000 loss, right? Because your construction guy went over budget and you underestimated the after repair value, and so that compounding effect caused a loss. Now, first of all, the probability of loss, of actual losing money, to me happened really only one time out of like 34 houses. And so the probability of that happening, if you do your homework right, and are probably not very high, but it can certainly happen. So the probability itself, most likely what normally happens in a situation, is not a complete loss of, well, first of all, you're not really actually losing the capital, right? Because the real estate inherently still has value. So you improved it, and yes, you went over budget, but very rarely is there a complete and utter loss of capital. But there could be loss of capital, but it is a bit remote. But let's say, so that's number one. Point number one is normally what happens is you don't make the money that you're thinking, which is disappointing, and a lot of flippers make a little money or none at all. And it's like, why did I do all that stuff? That's the most likely scenario if things go bad. Actual loss is pretty remote, but let's say it happens. So number one, remote. Number two, let's say it happens. You have two options with your friends and family. You can call them up and say, hey guys, I'm sorry, I just lost $5,000 of the money you put in. So each of you guys, lost $1,250 in principal. And you could do that, right? Because, what can you do? There's just nothing there. So, are they going to stop talking to you over a loss of $1,200? Probably not. They'll probably get over and go, wow, that was, they might not invest with you anymore, even though I think they would, right? Potentially, because, especially if you can do more of this stuff. So, but they're not going to stop talking to you over this kind of money. Now, if you lose all of their principal, that could be a problem. But again, it's it's not likely that you're going to have an utter loss of capital with real estate, multifamily or houses. Option number two is to eat the loss yourself. This is my preferred method. Right? So if you're doing this, if you're flipping houses, doing real estate, you're going to have income, hopefully. And if you do have a loss, you do your best that you can to eat it. I've done it. I've eaten losses for my investors. I've made my investors whole, not just their principal, but their interest at my detriment. And I know others who have lost a boatload of money on like luxury houses. They got themselves in over their head, and literally in the hundreds of $1,000s. And I know an example of one investor, and she actually borrowed out of her IRA to make her investors whole. That's just getting me goosebumps thinking about that. That is commitment, guys. That is commitment to your investors, when you will go into basically make your investors whole at whatever price. That is character. Okay, that's option number 2, and that to me is the best option. So if you look at the two options, okay, either of those options preserve your relationship with your friends and family. Okay, that's on one number. Now let's look at the downside of that. Let's look at the downside of not taking friends and family money. Okay, so we're just a fear, but let's look at the actual downside. Here's the thing: if you philosophically don't take money from friends and family, you have a much bigger hurdle to overcome, because your friends and family are the people who know you, trust you, like you, are more likely to help you with your real estate investing. So if you say, nope, I'm good, I don't want to ruin our relationship for a fear that will never happen, you have a lot more work to do. Now, can it be done? Of course. You can go out to the cold network, and it's going to take a lot longer to do it, right? So I really would challenge you to look at your fear and examine your fear that you have of actually involving your friends and family in your real estate. And my opinion is that it's better. The pros far outweigh the cons. But I don't know. Let me know if there's a chat box below here, the video. Let me know what you think about that, because we can have a discussion about that. So that's what my opinion is about raising money from friends and family. I think you should do it. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you found that useful about helping you raise money to get started with apartment building investing. If you have any comments, questions, let me know below in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer those. And you can also find me on my website, which is themicahblanc.com. So thanks very much for your kind attention. I'll catch you next time. Hey, thanks so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I want to leave you with 3 next things to do. I'll give you a quick tour of those, and I'll tell you how to do them. Step number 1 is to download my free ebook, The Secret to Raising Money to Buy Your First Apartment Building Deal. It is an awesome ebook full of tips for raising money and how to do that. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I put out new videos all the time, and I'd hate for you to miss it. And number 3 is to watch the next video in line. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to click on the first thing, which is to download the ebook. That'll open up a new tab. The video will stop playing. You're going to get the ebook, and then go back to this video, and then click on number 2, right, which is to subscribe on the channel. That'll open a new tab, and then you can go back to the third one and just click on the next video in line. All right, so hope you find that helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.